You have questions? I think I have the answers. We're going to talk about the top 30 questions that people have about artificial intelligence and what I think. And what I think, I guess, might matter. I don't come from a technological background, but I was a cop for a long time. Maybe some of this will shed some light for you, and we can all grow stronger by the sharing. All right, so the first thing we want to talk about is Section 1. We're going to get into the foundations of artificial intelligence, what it is and how it works. And what I promise is by the end of this, you're going to have a much better grasp as to what AI is and actually how it works. And as far as artificial intelligence, it's much more than a computer. It's doing a lot more than just a simple calculation. In fact, if you look back at the calculator days, we would potentially that programming came about by us showing it how to do things, not just giving it a task and letting it figure it out on its own, which is where AI is, but actually it demonstrating and showing it to it. And if you have kids, potentially you might show them, but the best case scenarios is letting them do it for themselves. If you have that game with the holes and the square and the round pegs and the holes that correspond to those specifically shaped pegs, and you give that to your child, over time, they will work it out. If you show them how to do it, then they are just good at following directions. But if you let them figure it out, that's where AI happens to be. So at its core, it refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines. This isn't new. This has been around for a long time. In fact, back in the 50s is when really it started to move through, and it was at the Dartmouth conference that they used this mainly as an advertising or marketing term, which was known as artificial intelligence. Some people don't really appreciate that name, especially in the tech culture, but it has stuck, and it seems like that's what everybody refers to it as, this superhuman, better than human, in some cases pretty soon probably greater than human intelligence, which we've created in the machines and the way that they actually work. So you can look back at this particular conference. There was a gentleman by the name of Alan Turing, and he basically, there's something known as the Turing test, and from my own brain and memory, it's basically, at one point, would a computer be able to fool a human being as far as being not just a computer, but them actually thinking it was another human being? That was known as the Turing test. And if you look at the systems now, you have to go past the video models, but even back it up before that. But going past that, we're going to see things changing. Of course, artificial intelligence is only going to be as bad as it is today. It's continuing to evolve, continuing to get better. And in fact, we have self-learning machines, which is a whole new thing. You have Alpha Evolve, which is a system that has been put into place with a series of agents that basically work together, artificial agents that are working together to make the particular system better. It's just a matter of time before you have many, many more breakthroughs and things really changing. But back in the day, they had no idea this was where this was going to go. And if you only look since the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, when ChatGPT came online, that was, as Mo Godwat refers to, as the Netscape moment. And if you were around back when the browsers came along and the internet, it was the Netscape browser that kind of allowed the normal people to get access into the internet. And really, it was just a world of difference. Then AI came along, artificial America Online came on, and that was when a lot of people started using the internet. And if you remember the sounds and the tones, that 56.6K modem, that ding-dong, ding-dong. Sorry if that's horrible, but you can reference that sound and see what that's like. But anyway, a lot of us were very excited. And in real estate back in that time, kind of started to become a little bit more. Before, in real estate, we had to take this sheet that talked about the seller's listing that we were going to put on the market for sale, and they would upload it from that end. But then after a while, the actual systems were allowed us to log on to it by logging on to the internet and dialing into the system. And then from there, we were able to utilize the system itself to upload this particular property information. Now, as far as this goes, you can look at artificial intelligence mainly as an umbrella term, and under it, you're going to find a lot of different subsets or subfields, each with its own focus and techniques. So machine learning is a subset of AI that enables systems to learn from data. Deep learning is a further subset of machine learning that uses neural networks with many layers. Hence, deep model deep, and that's going to be to model complex patterns. NLP, different than what I remember NLP to be. This is natural language processing, not neuro-linguistic processing, which was a book written a long time ago, which still I believe has a lot of application. But the NLP in the AI world allows computers to understand, interpret, generate human language. Computer vision enables machines to see and interpret visual information. We see that we can in fact call into the world coding and programs and apps and photographs just by speaking them into existence, the system themselves being able to understand it. Then on the robotic arm, it continues, combines AI with engineering to create machines that interact with the physical world. Each of these subsets constitutes the broader goal of creating intelligent machines that can exist, augment, and even surpass human capabilities in specific tasks. So back to section 1, where we kind of begin our quest during the questions. Some of the questions that people aren't answering is if we should be doing this. In fact, a lot of people really don't understand this is evolving to a point that this is going to be a more important discovery than us being able to, well, we discovered fire and then we were able to at least control it somewhat. It still gets out of hand and burns a lot of things down and still burns people, right? But again, we have somewhat control of it. I think AI is going to be a much bigger development of that, the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution. In fact, it's going to be just so beyond anything that we've ever seen, and it's coming. It's coming very soon. The issue with it, and before I get into the second question, which we'll talk about next time, the difference between AI, machine learning, and deep learning, the question is who controls the AI, who's behind it, what they're going to be doing with it, and I think that's probably the bigger threat than AI itself. All right, I'm Connor with Honor. If you want to see more Santa Clarita Artificial Intelligence, that's question 1. I did post all of these top 30 questions at the blog, Santa Clarita Artificialintelligence.com. You can go there, and then, of course, this particular post with a large question mark is where to join or where to check out that. Then if you want to join the community, you can click on here. This is where I do a lot of updates. It's an actual community with regard to AI. You're more than welcome. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And hopefully you will see the value. We'll be back with question number 2 soon. Thanks for watching. Take care.